This is Cydni.
And I'm Sher. And each week we get together to share with you a message of hope.
It is through our own study and our personal experiences that we offer the reminder to not only seek the light,
but be the light. You can find peace, and there is hope.
And as long as one of us is slightly caffeinated, there will be laughter.
Today's topic is goal setting.
And we're so glad you're here.
I'm forging my way through the tip top. I'm living my life through the drip, drop.
All right, Cydni, so today we're going to talk about goals. Should we talk about SMART goals? Because you and I
We really thrive
at SMART goals.
Yes.
Why don't you talk to
I don't
me
even know
about
what
that?
a SMART goal is. What is a SMART goal?
Are you for real?
A SMART goal?
A SMART goal.
Can we talk about dumb goals, uneducated goals, lacking goals?
SMART goals are the rage right now, Cydni.
Okay.
Come on. S stands for specific.
Okay.
M, measurable. A, achievable. R, relevant. And T, time bound. Isn't that us?
That is very smart.
Yeah. It's all the rage. All the cool kids are doing it.
Everything I looked up was like the 5 top mistakes you can make setting goals or 7 mistakes you can make. I thought I actually dominate all of those mistakes. I do every single one. It's like never start on Monday. Don't do that. Start now if you're serious. I've lived my entire life starting on Monday. I'll start Monday after Thanksgiving. January 1st falls on a Monday in 2 years. I'll start then.
I support it.
Today, I would say that we probably have to be honest that we've gathered information and studied with the idea of learning ourselves. And we are going to share with you what we've learned and try not to hate ourselves
when it's over. Because I was thinking about it. I think Cydni and Sher and the word goal is kind of an oxymoron. Maybe more moron than oxy.
Yeah,
it doesn't mesh.
I feel like you're better at goal setting than I am because if it was up to me, we still would not have a podcast. I would be over here saying, we're just not good enough yet. So let's wait. Let's wait. How can I procrastinate this? I love to procrastinate. I just want everything to be perfectly aligned and perfectly set and just maybe an angel coming and saying, yeah, it's okay that you do this. And then I can go after it. And
but not till after the vision.
I need a vision first, but I have not received any visions. So I feel like I spend a lot of time waiting. That makes me think, obviously, of Hamilton again. So there's the 2 characters, Aaron Burr and also Hamilton. Mm-hmm. I know it by heart, so don't judge that I'm thinking about it right now. But anyway, Hamilton goes for it all of the time. It doesn't matter the disaster that he leaves behind. He just goes and things work out for him. And Aaron Burr sings a song about waiting for things. You just wait and see. I'm going to get it together and then things are going to fall into place. I think the reason I love Hamilton so much is because it's like a mirror of who I actually am. I'm a waiter. I like to wait. And it hurt my heart to watch it because I knew my character was more like Aaron Burr, sir. And the person I would like to be is more like Hamilton where he just goes for it. But I'm not. I'm a waiter. I'm a procrastinator. I start on Monday, but I never start on Monday.
I also am a procrastinator, but I do like to throw things together at the last second.
Yes, me
so
too.
I get it done when I originally planned.
We need to be like up against the wall. It has to happen right now. We need that urgency. Yeah. That is what I love about Ben, my husband. He creates the urgency before the urgency is actually there.
That's good.
He is the most impressive person when it comes to goal setting and accomplishing goals that I've ever met in my life. I would like to be like him and Hamilton. But here I am. Waiting.
But you're here. Look at us.
I am. And you are.
The 2 procrastinators.
I think it helped that we've done this together because I've wanted to do a podcast for 5 years and I was thinking I'd wait. And then you came along.
Well, I just like doing techie things. So to me, I was like, oh yeah, I want to put something dealing with technology together.
I could still remember how I feel when we made a goal to release our first podcast in May. And when it was coming up and you were like, we are releasing it because that's what we said. And I felt blood drain from my head to my toes. I was like, we are not ready. And I tried so hard to politely talk you out of it. And you were not even budging. You were like, it's happening because that's what we said. And I was like, but what if we forget what we said and we procrastinate and start in June? What about June? And I tried so hard to push it off.
She gave me really good reasons too. The stars line up in June. The sun sets a perfect way in June.
According to my horoscope, the year of the rat, I really prefer June 7th. It's my lucky number.
Well, here's the one thing that is, I don't know if it's good or bad about me, but I'm okay with things not being perfect.
I feel like that is such a blessing.
Oh, it is.
It's a beautiful quality. I really do believe that.
Oh, well.
Because then you just go for it. You just do it.
Yeah, and sometimes it doesn't work out so well.
At
Yeah.
least you're accomplishing something.
I guess so, because I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Someone doesn't like it. Oh, well.
And I'm like, and now I will be crippled head to toe because someone didn't like something I said. I'm going to find a good happy medium.
I think it's from teaching. All those years of teaching, I can't make all my students happy.
I think that's the whole idea there is that you can't please everybody. So you should at least please spark in your heart.
Yeah. So as long as most of the kids, we got along and had fun, then I'm good to go. That little negative Nelly over there in the corner glaring at me, whatevs. They can be grumpy.
Yeah, that reminds me of a Les Brown teaching. He says at the end on your deathbed, it's only going to be you and the ghost of the things that could have been, the talents and the gifts, the things you could have given, just going to surround you and ask, why am I going to be buried with you? Why did you never try? That's intense. Just going to be buried with you. And the same idea is out there. I've heard this many different ways, but when you drive by a cemetery, it's not just skeletons buried there. It's people's dreams and their hopes and their wishes buried there too. Things they never did.
Okay, that's depressing.
Is it though, or is it motivating? Because we're motivated by different things, right?
Yeah.
And I think you have to create an urgency, especially if you're like us who naturally love and delight in procrastinating. We wait for that urgency. What if you create the urgency? What if the urgency is like, hey, you could die at any time, and then your hopes and your dreams and your desires and the things you could have been are going to be buried with you. And then God is going to look at you and be like, hey, everything you wanted, you could have had. It was right there for you. You're the one who decided not to have it. Oh, that hurts. I need to listen to this myself and not be scared. It's motivating.
It doesn't make you want to do better because you want to go out with a bang, so to speak.
Just along the lines of that, this is something we're truly learning about, and that you and I are trying so hard to become better at this ourselves. And hopefully in the things that we've learned that have enlightened our brain, others will get something out of it.
Yeah, hopefully. So as we've established, we're not very good at this. So this is what This is what I thought of. So I thought of what I can do. I am really good at accomplishing tasks and jobs, not necessarily a big grand goal, but I am good at these are the things I want to get done today or things I want to get done in general. And I am good at doing that. So I'm going to start there just as an example. So when I first started teaching, I remember all the teachers that had been teaching a while, they had their planning books out and they would write down everything they were doing for the whole quarter or year. They were just going crazy. Like Monday, I'm doing this. Tuesday, I'm doing this. Wednesday, I'm doing this. And I was just like, I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. I have no idea. And I remember thinking, I want to be like that so bad. Well, after 32 years of teaching, I still didn't do that. And let me tell you why. I noticed something. The teachers that did that, they get really upset when something ruins their groove. If there's an unplanned fire drill, or the counselors need to come in and talk to your class, or there's an assembly, or the water line breaks in the school. There's always constantly a disruption. And then they get mad. I never had to be mad because you just kind of go with the flow. Whatever happens, happens, right?
Right. It goes along with the keep your expectations low. You'll never be disappointed if you have no expectations.
So this is what I did. I knew where I wanted to get to with each unit. For example, my first unit, I wanted to talk about historical cycles and how history always repeats itself. And I had the steps to get there, but I didn't know when they were going to happen. I just got to it when I got to it. What I'd do at the end of every class period is I'd write down where we got to. And then I knew where to start the next day. And it didn't matter if I had an interruption because I could just do it whenever. We got there when we got there, as long as I got to the end goal, which was to teach my students about historical cycles. And that's just what I did. And it worked for me. But I was thinking, since I'm not good at goal setting, I really shouldn't be teaching anyone about this. I thought about something. I thought of the Myers-Briggs personality test, and I'm not trying to give myself an excuse, but things like SMART goals, that will never work for me. It's super frustrating because if you have something planned out day to day to day to day, and then your groove gets ruined, I get mad. I don't like doing SMART goals. It stresses me out.
So basically, I feel like we're going to go with don't set goals and procrastinate. It's worked so well for us, right? I'm so happy.
But I'm not going to give myself an excuse. I learned from this personality test that I'm an adventurer, which means I'm very independent. I don't like being controlled. I don't like people setting like hard rules and parameters and saying, this is how you do things, because I will do the opposite of whatever they say.
Because you're an adventurer.
Exactly. So things like SMART goals and having a strict structure, that is never going to work for me. No matter how hard I tried, they had us do that every year at school. Did I ever do it? No, I didn't. I never followed the SMART goal thing. I just did it the way I wanted to and called it a day. So teaching worked for me because it allowed me to be creative in my classroom and I could just do it however I wanted. I did teach the standards, but I did it in the way that I wanted to that allowed me to still be creative, which is really important for somebody with my type of personality. So I looked up, how do you set goals if you have an adventurer personality?
Ooh, smart.
So you ready? This might help both of us.
Okay.
You should collect information about possible goals. I think we both do that. When we're getting ready for a podcast, we collect information.
That's my favorite thing to do.
Mine too.
I think I'm a researcher.
Yes.
I love
so
it.
we collect information and then spend time alone going through that information. That's important for me. Do you do that?
Yes.
See, look at us go.
Okay, listen to us. We know what we're talking
We
about.
know. All right. Then explore possibilities either alone or with someone that you trust. Now, for somebody with my type of personality, do not do this with someone you do not trust because it will end poorly. And then you need time to reflect about it after you talk to your friend or after you just think about it. You have to reflect about it, maybe with somebody else, but probably by yourself.
Definitely by myself.
Yeah.
I like to sit and ponder and really ask questions about what I'm learning about. Find a hard question from it. Maybe disagree with whatever was said, just to see what comes to my mind.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm a ponderer.
And that's what it said to do.
I just also forget what I pondered about, though. I'm an adventurer, researcher, forgetter. Anyway.
Well, I am now after having a stroke brain. So also something to know about an adventurer personality is that we are often inwardly resolute, but outwardly appear flexible. I'm pretty flexible, but when we set a day to launch, we were doing it.
You were. I think
was.
I changed there. I'm like, how do I push this out? But justify it. Be creative with how I will justify not doing what I said I was going to do. Not because I'm a bad person, but because I'm creative and I'm not ready and I'm scared.
That's fair. That's okay. We're all different. Also, someone like me, I tend to work well independently. Let me do my things.
Co-host here.
This is something is very true too. I'm more motivated to achieve a goal when it aligns with my personal values. That's true.
That makes a lot of sense.
Doesn't that work for everybody?
I would say so, yeah.
I would think so. Anyway, give the person an outlet to use creativity and their passion. And then here's the big one. This is where it gets down to the nitty gritty. This is hard.
Okay, I'm
for
ready.
someone like me and you.
Okay.
It says that someone with our type of personality, we often struggle with breaking large goals down into achievable steps.
Yes, that's me.
And it's okay to ask advice from someone that's good at that.
We did that. We asked Ben, remember?
Yeah, oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, that was so annoying. Ben broke it down to like hours and minutes. Do you remember?
I do remember.
It was hard for my brain.
But she did it. She took one for the team.
Yeah, just because I want to stay married. I was like, thanks, Ben. That was great. I'm going to go take a break.
But at least we did it, right?
We
Okay.
did.
When I started teaching, the person that I trusted, who is the most organized person that I still know to this day, is my mom. And so I asked her how to set up my classroom. I told her what I wanted. I told her my vision, and then she helped me break it down into steps that I could actually do. And that way it didn't seem daunting for me. And that is what I used the entire time I was teaching. And this is important. Whoever it is that you talk to ask for help, they cannot micromanage you, or else, like for me, I'll peace out. I do not like to be micromanaged. I did not do well with principals I had that were micromanagers. I did very poorly.
You just need freedom to be flexible.
Yeah.
Because especially in your career, you had a lot of different personalities coming in. There is not going to be a specific checklist in every classroom. You needed to be able to adjust and be flexible.
How do you know this? But yet
what? You're a total failure.
No, how do you know this? But there are people that don't get that.
It's because I'm a researcher.
It is. You're a researcher. That's good. All right. It's really important that with our types of personalities, not to do this at 9 a.m. I'm going to do this, and 10 a.m. I'm going to do this. If you're going to set a goal for us, Cydni just lost her mind right
I
there.
know. I felt pain in my heart. Mm-hmm. I think you brought on a heart attack.
I think I did that to myself.
Yeah. But I would just want to say some people really thrive that way.
Yes.
And that is the most important thing, is that you have some teachers are slaying it by doing their schedules like that. And it really works for them. I have sister-in-laws who I think are incredible at that. And it is like a 9 a.m., 10 a.m. type situation. Right. But then there's also the option of blocking a schedule where from 9 to noon, it's going to be chores and cleaning the house. And then noon to 3, it's going to be this. And then 3 to 6, it's this. And so I think the biggest takeaway as we both have been studying is there's so many ways to do this.
It's different for everyone, and it's okay.
As much as we wish we could be more organized and detailed, I think there's people who wish they could let go of their task and live in the moment. We're all different, and we're trying to figure out a balance.
Right.
One time I took a Jordan Peterson quiz on personality, and it took 20 minutes to take. And then they emailed me the results, and I never read the results. And I said to myself, is there anything more telling about my personality that I did 80% of it and I didn't finish the last 20%? I learned everything I needed to know with my own actions. And that's a true story. I don't even know where it is in my email.
That's fantastic.
It's true. I was like, I know all about myself now. I didn't open it. I did all the work to get there. And then I was like, well, done enough.
That's great.
Thanks.
I do have one final quote from the Myers-Briggs personality test. They, referring to adventurers, can't predict the future, so it does no good to worry about it now. This mindset can hold them back from many of their ideal careers, such as psychology, counseling, and teaching.
Wow.
Right?
There you go.
Which requires long-term planning and often extensive certifications to get started. It takes a great deal of energy for adventurers to maintain focus on a single goal like that for so long, but it can make the day-to-day so much more rewarding for the rest of their lives. I want to say to all those people out there that goal setting is not your greatest strength, that we can do it. Because I was a teacher for 32 years, and according to my personality test, this was a hard ask for me. But I did it, so there's hope for all of us.
And you did it successfully.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have a lot of students that seek you out and are still friends with you. And I think that shows that it worked.
It can work. So even though how we accomplish goals may look different, we all can do this. There is hope for all of us. Even though I didn't set SMART goals and I didn't do any of that ever becoming a teacher, at least I got it done. I don't know how.
I like that we both spend separate time studying and researching about the topic, and that we both have come to the conclusion that there's different ways to go about a goal, because sometimes it feels like there's one way and it kind of frazzles some of our brains a little bit and it just doesn't work. And for me, if something's too scheduled, it takes out the feeling and the passion.
It takes out the fun.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm with you.
And it's just good to hear there's other ways to do it, because some people are the opposite. That is fun to them. The organizing. I remember listening to a girl talk about her year that she would literally take her calendar and go back through it and dissect her calendar and see how well she did with her goals and her schedule and just do a yearly evaluation. And I cannot comprehend doing that. But to her, she was like on fire when she talked about it. So one of the biggest things I took away is that you cannot compare your goals and your methods with other people. There is a specific spark in each of us, and it's different than everyone else's. And if we spend too much time looking at how someone else does it or what someone else's goals are, it takes away from our actual own spark. And I do love that we both, in our own research, in our own time, came up with the same truth, that there's different ways to go about it. You can get to the same place in a different route. And that is kind of cool. I like that.
I do too, especially when you're not good at it. See, look, we can do it.
We can. And what's worked for me this time with getting prepared for this episode is that I did jump into learning about setting goals. And I've had a lot of fun doing it. I've learned so much, and it's opened up my mind because it's something I've never been good at. I truly just do 80 to 90% of what I said I'm going to do. And I just struggle with that last 10%. And that's been something we have been doing in our home now, that we always say the last 10% to our children, to each other, because we find that we get most of the kitchen clean, but then we stop. So we've been living by the last 10%. And we've been saying it to each other. Remember, the last 10%, go clean your room. And then when they say, my room's clean, we say, okay, we'll go back in and make sure you did the last 10%. And that's been helping all of us, though Ben's naturally amazing at it, helping us to finish what we started.
I need you to say that to me. Could you just text that to me
10%.
every day?
I say it to myself all day long. And then if Ben says it to me, I'm like, ugh. How about this? I sat down with Ben and had him tell me a little bit about how he is so successful.
All right, bring it, Ben.
So Ben said that you need to understand that the purpose behind goals is to help you become the person you want to be. So the most important thing is you figure out, who do you want to be? And what you did with your research is you figured out who you are and then how to help yourself accomplish what you want to accomplish. And that is a really important step. Who are you? And what do you want to accomplish? And what is the best way for someone with your personality to accomplish the things that you need to accomplish or want to accomplish? And he also said, how fast do you want to get there? Something I found in my own research that I just love so much. It was an aha moment that there is a difference between a dream and a goal. I have never considered this before. And I've always thought that my goals needed to sound super impressive to other people. Otherwise, I didn't want to have one. But the problem with that is I would make it too big and too ridiculous, where then I couldn't even break it down if my life depended on it because it was too grand. But that's a dream, and we should have dreams. And the sky is the limit with your dream. A goal is different. A goal is something that is measurable. It's a smaller...
You're going with the SMART goal.
I know that we don't like the measuring. I know, but it's part of it. But you can measure it any way you want.
Okay, good.
Then you just do research and figure out how you can measure it.
Done or not? Does that count?
I think that you do measure more than you think, though, because you show me stats on podcasting and we talk about where we would like to be, where we need to be, and you actually do follow that. And that is measured. It doesn't have to look like somebody else's measurement.
I like that.
It's your own.
Yes.
But it is measurable.
See, and it's important you don't close people like me in. It's still wide open,
It's
right?
wide open. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to measure. That's true. Denzel Washington said, dreams without goals remain dreams and ultimately fuel disappointment. Goals on the way to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency. Now, for me, I'm interpreting that a goal is something that you can be consistent at, which then becomes a habit. And habits lead to the actions that help us accomplish our goals. And I've thought about this because I say I'm not great at setting goals, but I had one that I've actually accomplished. It's taken me so long to get here, though. I wanted to read scriptures every single morning. I've wanted to do this for the last 5 to 10 years, and I just didn't do it. I would try and I would fail, and I would try and I would fail. And then I told myself, what if I just do one verse every day? I can do that. I can do one verse a day. And now every single morning, 5 years later, I get up and it is a habit. I read my scriptures and I read more than one verse. There was a very long time that reading one verse every day was near impossible for me. But now, because I kept trying and trying and trying and putting forth the effort and trying to measure it and telling my family that I was trying to do it, it became a habit. And now something that was a goal is a habit. And that has paid off because I have learned so much and I've actually developed a great love for scriptures. Another thing Ben mentioned was remove things that are in the way. I liked this because if I go back to my scripture reading, one thing that was in the way is that when I woke up in the morning, I would get on social media first. So I had to remove that. It was something that took trial and error, and I would wake up and I would jump on Instagram and see if anyone reposted me. And that was more exciting to me than reading scriptures. I had to remove that. And then it became a rule for me that I could not get on social media until I've read one verse. So you have to look at your life and what is in the way. Carl Jung, he says that the way you find your purpose and the way you find your goal, it's found in voluntary self-sacrifice. What are you willing to give up? We are all going to make sacrifices, but you can decide what sacrifices you're going to make. I actually want to tell you the definition from Elliot Berkman about a goal. A goal is any desired outcome that would have not otherwise happened without you doing something. So along with what Ben said, that you have to remove things that are in the way, this is saying that you want to reach your goal without taking action. So one of the actions we must take is removing things that are in the way. And it becomes a sacrifice. What do you want to sacrifice? Are you going to sacrifice Instagram so that you could read your scriptures.
What you said, I actually really relate to right now about sacrificing. I apologize for bringing up my stroke again, but I really had to do that. I've had really bad brain fog, and it gets worse, especially when I first had the stroke, when I would multitask or just do any task. So I had to really decide, do I have enough brain power to do A or B? So what did I really want to do? If I really wanted to do a podcast, that means I couldn't spend time looking on my phone, looking up crap or playing a game. I couldn't do that because if I did that, there is no way that I would be able to talk and do a podcast with you. It just would not happen, which actually happened in the last episode. I did too much. And then when we did the podcast, I was all over the place. I couldn't even make a sentence. So I totally get getting rid of things because I had to take it down to just one thing. What one task did I want to do? Because that's the one thing I would have the brain energy to do for that whole day, which was really hard.
I love that example because I also relate to it because I have to decide, as someone who does love to scroll on social media, I've had to learn to sacrifice that mindlessness to prepare for topics that we're talking about. So I could not just sit and listen to what's going on in the news. I had to sacrifice that because I needed to learn about goals. And so it's interesting though, because we're really sacrificing things that we don't want for things that we do want, but it still is a very difficult thing. And if you are aware and mindful, you will start to see a pattern of what you actually want instead of just giving into the bad habits of what you do. What do you want? And does that align with what you're doing? Sometimes some of the things that we have to sacrifice are not doing anything good for us, but they're still so difficult to let go of.
Yeah, I've really learned that lesson. Have I missed playing Candy Crush on my phone? No, I had to let it go to just watch TV. I couldn't do both at the same time. So I get that. I finally understand exactly what you just said. I don't know if I would have understood it as well as I do now.
I love that. Another thing Ben says is that you need to have a mission statement, a statement of purpose, of intent, and you must say it out loud. I actually did a lot of research first from motivational speakers and authors who talked on this subject, and Ben hit everything.
Wow, way to go.
I feel like even said it better.
Way to go, Ben.
And so he said this, and I really liked that you need to have a statement of intent and say it out loud. And I listened to Mel Robbins, who does talk about goal setting, and she has a really great episode that's Goal Setting 101. I really found a lot of value in that. She did a lot of research from different colleges and group studies that found you have to have the will and the way. The will is your why. Why do you want to do this? The why will help us remember the reason you're doing this, the reason that you're studying about goals instead of watching TikTok mindlessly. And we've been working on our own why.
We have.
Good for us.
Still, we're working on it.
Yeah, it's there.
We have
it's
a
in
goal.
our heart.
We have a goal set that we're going to figure out our why.
We know it.
We have a rough outline.
We have a feeling of it.
It's in our soul and our heart.
Yes. We're just trying to put it into words. That's like a one statement. Okay. She says to ask yourself, why is the behavior change important to you? Why do you want to change? And why now? Also, the way. The way is how. And this, they said in studies, was less important than the why. The why is more important than the how.
That speaks to me. Why is more important than the how.
Yeah, I once listened to a guy who talked about the why, and he said to do a 7-layer why. Ask yourself, why do you want to do this? And whatever answer you get, ask again, but why? And ask yourself at least 7 times, and you will uncover deep within your soul a why that was a seed that was planted, a spark, a burning, and you will feel it and you will understand your why. So to do a 7-layer why, the first answer you get is not your real answer. The second answer you get is not the real answer. Go deep and you will figure out why.
You and I would lose attention by the time we got to the 7 layers.
I've done it before.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I've done it. And I used to think because I want to make people laugh and I want to do good. And I asked myself and asked myself and asked myself. And I got to a core. And I'll get real personal with you.
Okay.
And I had my 7th layer why was for my little brothers. They were so important to me growing up, and I moved away when they were little still. And I'm not going to say is the biggest regret of my life. I think things happened the way they were supposed to, but it was something that I carried around that's so heavy because I love my little brothers. And I felt like I was their mother in so many ways growing up. And when I left, I did feel like I abandoned them. And so I had this why that I would be successful, not my first why because I wanted to help people, but my 7 layer was because I was going to make it up to my little brothers. I just love them and I want to be my best self and I want to help them with their life. Now they don't need me. They're amazing. They're all incredible young men and I adore them all. But I think that if you uncover this deep beginning core seed that you've planted, it really does enlighten your mind. And I would still love to take them to Chuckarama.
I thought you were going to say Paris.
No. I mean, they're fine now. They could take me to Paris.
I think that's interesting because as a student in school, I would always ask myself while I was learning, why am I learning this? Why? And when my teachers couldn't meet that expectation, I really had no interest in the subject. I wanted to know why. So as a teacher, I always tried to explain whatever it was I was teaching, why this is important. I wanted them to understand the why, how this related to them as an individual, because that's when learning is accessible. And that, to me, makes goal setting accessible if I have that why.
I love that. And if you come up with your true why, then it becomes very personal to you and you will do the work and you will make the sacrifices because the importance is there and the purpose is there. And sometimes your why might be that you feel called to do it.
And that's how I got through school and became a teacher. I felt called to do that. That was my purpose. See how that fits back into my personality trait?
It does. It absolutely does. Okay. Another Ben Beer is to become a student of your subject that you want to learn about.
I like that one.
I love as well. Yes. He said that find someone who's done what you want to do and learn from them if it's possible. If not, then listen to people on YouTube or read books of people who have accomplished the things that you want to accomplish and learn everything you can from them. I've seen Ben do this from the time we were married, that he will find someone who is wealthier, more intelligent, more put together, and he will sponge everything from that person. And then he will move on and do it again and again and again. And it is amazing to watch him do it. I'm more of I'll go to YouTube and soak everything in and remember 1% of it, but that's going to add up.
It will. 1% will add up eventually. In 100 years, you'll have 100%.
Yes, I agree. He also said to visualize it. Visualize yourself being who you want to be. Visualize it as if it's already there for you. If it already is, feel it and believe it and be in it. And Denzel Washington, I love something he said about this idea. He said, to say thank you in advance for what is already yours. True desire in the heart for anything good is God's proof to you, sent beforehand to indicate that it's yours already. And anything you want, good, you can have. So claim it and work hard to get it. And when you get it, reach back and pull someone else up. I love Denzel Washington.
Yeah, that's really good.
I love it so much. One of the reasons I feel like I've failed with goals is because when you want something big, it made me feel selfish or like a bad person to want it. So I like Denzel's ending there, reach back and pull someone else up. I really love that. When you have a big dream that's in your heart and a desire in your heart, I love the idea that God's put that there for a reason because it's your potential and it's your purpose. And you don't have to feel bad for wanting it. And when you get it, reach back and pull someone else up.
I love that.
That's helped me a lot.
Yeah, that's really good. I love that a lot. I would always tell my students that if they put forth effort, they would always be able to find somebody that was willing to help them and pull them up. Because people do want to help. Of course, there are yucky people out there and we're just going to ignore them, dismiss them. But there are other people out there that are good and want to help them get to where they are. And I've seen that over and over again, just good people reaching out to my students that are more than willing to help them and teach them along the way. I love that advice. I think that's really good.
I think one of the reasons people struggle with goals or accomplishing their goals is that they are lacking self-worth, feeling like they're not worthy of the goals that are in their hearts. But I've been reading Psycho Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz.
It sounds like a horror book.
It's a horror book as in that I have to pause it and look up words that I don't know what they mean. And I have to listen again to what he said to understand it. It is not an easy read for me. It's really interesting because it's about changing your self-image. He worked with people who had injuries or were born with deformities, and he would do plastic surgery to help fix them. And he watched people's self-image change, and he became fascinated with it, that somebody that didn't accomplish anything or leave their house because they were so ashamed of who they were, they would fix something simple and they would blossom. And he said, if there's something here, there are people who have an obvious deformity that is holding them back. But what about the people who have something on the inside that you don't see, that you don't notice, but there's something about their self-image that is holding them back so much. They don't believe in themselves because of an internal scar. And that is something I could relate to, which is one of the reasons why I've been reading the book, is because I think it's really important to understand what's holding you back from your goals and your dreams. And I think a self-image is something that's always held me back. And his definition of self-image has helped me so much. It took me a very long time to write this down on this piece of random paper. One day I'm going to be organized, but for now I'm going to share a quote.
Out of 12 different notebooks.
I only brought 3 today because I couldn't find the 4th. I'm going to share this because I feel like there's someone else out there who is not reaching their goals because of their own self-image. And the book is so beautiful about changing your self-image, to understand that you were created for a reason, for a purpose, and that the experiences that you have gone through have made you capable to help other people and capable of helping yourself too. And he says of your self-image, you must find yourself acceptable, at least to you. You must have a wholesome self-esteem. You must have a self that you can trust and believe in. You must have a self that you are not ashamed to be, and one that you can feel free to express creatively rather than hide or cover up. You must know yourself, your strengths and your weaknesses. I love the idea that you must have a self that you can trust and believe in. And I believe goals will help us to recognize that we can trust ourselves and that we can believe in ourselves. And it's really important to set tiny little goals. If you are struggling, like Sher and I, maybe for different reasons, but if you struggle to set goals and accomplish them, I've heard the idea of setting such a micro goal, and you build up the confidence in yourself that you actually are capable of accomplishing a goal. So maybe it's you're going to drink 30 ounces of water today, and then do it. Make it so tiny and so small that you can do it, and then just build it up. And that just reminds me of Denzel Washington's quote again, that if we understand who we are and understand the potential that is in us, then again, anything you want good, you can have. So claim it and work hard to get it. And the last thing I'll share that Ben said is to remember that change is difficult. There will be pushback, and you will have to keep trying and keep going, but don't quit.
I really love all of Ben's advice. I feel very strongly about this because of the experience I've had the last couple of months. Again, I apologize, but I'm talking about my stroke brain again. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, it's okay if you have to start over. As a quick example, I tried to walk every single day. And when I first started walking, I would just walk a block. Some days I could walk 2, and some days I could only walk 1. On October 17th, I almost walked a mile, and it took me 35 minutes. I didn't even quite make a mile. It was close, but I was so excited because at least I did it. And I actually talked to one of my nephews if he had any advice for me, because he's way into exercising and he's going to be some sort of whatever fighter. I don't know what he's doing, but go get him, Ken. Kick some butt. Anyway, this was his advice, and it goes right in with what you said about habits. He said, just start with 1 push-up or 1 sit-up. That's it. Just do 1, and then the next day do 1 again, or do 2. But just start, and just like you said, make it a habit. And I thought that was really good advice. Also, I love what you said about making things too grand, because when I had to start all over with my brain, too grand was going back to what I was walking before. That wasn't going to happen. I had to make it smaller, and all I wanted to do was just try to walk a block, and that was it. It's okay to just have small little goals, and you don't need them too grand. The next thing is I found this quote from Christopher Reeves. And Christopher Reeves was Superman when I was a kid. And then in the 90s, he became paralyzed. And he said this, Who knows why an accident happens? The key is what you do afterwards. There's a period of shock and then grieving with confusion and loss. After that, you have two choices. One is to stare at the window and gradually disintegrate, and the other is to mobilize and use all your resources, whatever they may be, to do something positive. And I love that advice because all of us are going to be faced with that decision, whether it's physically, spiritually, or mentally. We are going to have to hit the reset button on something at some point in our life. And are we going to disintegrate physically, spiritually, or are we going to do something positive? One step at a time, one block at a time, one push-up, one sit-up, whatever it takes, just do one thing at a time. And that's all I've been able to do. I mean, poor Cydni, when we were trying to plan, she had a little block of time where we would try to plan and get stuff ready before I'd be done. But you were very patient. So thank you, Cydni.
Thanks. That was my goal, to be patient with you.
You did a very good job. But I think the most important thing to remember is that God just wants us to keep going. And if we have to hit the reset button and start over, whether it's physically, spiritually, or mentally, He's going to start over with us. He just wants us to keep learning and to keep growing and to keep trying.
And you're not starting all the way over. You're starting again with different experience and knowledge and trial and error. So you are more equipped to actually keep going.
You're getting those resources and those tools to help you keep going.
We have gone over a lot today. So our final thoughts.
I just want to say good job for two people that don't really set goals. Good job, Cydni.
Well, I set a lot of goals. I love goals. I just fail a lot, but it's okay.
I just don't even like to set them in the first place. So Cydni, good job. We did it.
Thank you.
High five.
So remember from Elliot Berkman that a goal is any desired outcome that would not have otherwise happened without you doing something. A goal is going to give you purpose. It's going to help you become the person that you want to become. And that will require work, and that will require change, and it will require sacrifice. But what sacrifices are you willing to make? And remember that if you want to succeed, you have to have a positive self-image of yourself, someone that you can trust, that you can believe in, and someone that is acceptable to at least you. And as you work towards a goal, it will become a habit. A habit is something that you do without even thinking about it. It becomes part of you, a part of your character. And slowly, as you set goals and they become habits, it's going to eventually help you reach your potential, that spark that is in you, that's already yours, the spark that God has put in you because He knows it's who you are. And you will be able to see that come forth in your lifetime. And if you are struggling with believing in yourself, remember the man who said, "Lord, I believe, help thou my unbelief." It's okay to go to the Lord in prayer and tell Him the desires of your heart and tell Him if you're lacking belief in yourself and ask Him to help you believe. And then you won't have those ghosts hanging around that are asking you, why did you not accomplish the things that were in you?
Yeah, I don't want any of those ghosts.
No, we don't want to get buried with those ghosts. So let them out.
Our challenge this week is to set a goal. However it works for you, whatever it is that you want to accomplish, you get to figure it out because I'm all about independence and doing your own thing and not micromanaging. So you get to do it.
You're here.
Have a good week.
Have a good one.
I'm forging my way through the tip top. I'm living my life through the drip drop. When eternity's plan, I just can't stop. I'm making my way through the drip drop.
It's blooper time.
Okay. All right. I was trying to prepare and it was like an interruption every like 5 seconds. And then at one point he's like, "Okay, I'll leave you alone." And he sat and ate cereal. He's like, and I was like, "Oh." Okay. You could also take that out.
I shall.
Okay.
It is for personality.
I believe that you can say
personalities.
I think I had a stroke too. I say that
I
a lot,
feel you.
But I'm like,
I feel you.
bam. No. What? I got it. Okay, that's it. Just end it right there. Recap it yourself. Have a great week. Like and subscribe.